Welcome. Sankara's teachings are deep and profound. RamanaMaharshi lived these teachings. Listen, reflect, and deeply meditate. I'm Richard Clarke. I'm reviewing and commenting on Adi Shankara's Atma Bodha, or self-knowledge. Today is verse 68. He who, renouncing all activities, who worships in the sacred and immaculate sanctuary of Brahman, which is free of all the limitations of time, space, and direction, which is present everywhere, which is the destroyer of heat and cold and all other opposites, and which endows eternal bliss, becomes all-knowing and all-pervading, and attains thereafter immortality. The final verse of Atma Bodha is a fitting conclusion to Adi Shankara's teaching. He speaks to the seeker who renounces all activities, not by abandoning outward life in a careless way, but by giving up the sense of I am the doer. The mind that once rushed towards countless tasks and identifications is now quiet. In that stillness, the seeker turns wholly towards the awareness of Brahman, conscious only of the awareness which lights up everything. Sankara describes Brahman as a sacred and immaculate sanctuary, free of time, space, and direction. This points to the infinite nature of the self, which is not bound by space or time. It is always present. The verse says that Brahman is the destroyer of heat and cold and all other opposites. This means that once you recognize yourself as Brahman, you are no longer disturbed by pairs of opposites, pleasure and pain, gain and loss, praise and blame. These experiences continue on the surface of life, but the self is untouched. That self is bliss itself, not as an emotion, but as an unshakable fullness of being. Sankara then points to the result. You become all-knowing and all-pervading. This does not mean that the person's mind suddenly holds all information or the body extends everywhere. It means that the narrow sense of individuality has dissolved into the recognition of oneness with all. The self is known as the source of all knowledge and the very presence that pervades everything. What was once thought of as outside is now understood to be none other than the self. The final promise of the verse is immortality. This is not about extending bodily life. It's about realizing that your true self was never born and will never die. Death applies only to the body and mind, but not to what you truly are. Immortality is the clear recognition that you are the eternal awareness in which all experiences rise and fall. This verse closes Atma Bodha by affirming the fruit of self-knowledge, freedom from bondage, freedom from opposites, and the direct recognition of your own deathless nature. To summarize the text, in Atma Bodha, awakening to the self, Sankara sets out the path and fruit of self-knowledge. He begins by saying that self-realization is the only means to liberation, and that scriptures and rituals are preparatory but not final. The true seeker must purify the mind and cultivate discrimination between the eternal and the transient. Sankara explains that ignorance causes misidentification with the body, mind, and senses. This ignorance creates bondage, suffering, and the endless cycle of rebirth. The way out is to recognize that the self is ever pure, free, and unchanging, like space, untouched by the clouds that pass through it. Sankara offers vivid images. Ignorance is like mist hiding the sun. The self is like a lamp shining within. The ego is like a false snake imagined in a rope. Through steady inquiry and meditation, the false sense of individuality is dissolved. The text moves from analysis to assurance, showing that the self is Brahman, infinite and blissful. By knowing this directly, you are liberated while living. The final verses celebrate the state of freedom where the wise live as embodiments of peace, no longer limited, radiant in the knowledge of their own immortality. So know yourself and be always free and at peace. I'm Richard Clarke. My new book, Atma Vidya by RamanaMaharshi with comments, offers clear insights into this profound poem on self-realization. In this series, I share Ramana's timeless wisdom and my reflections and inquiries to deepen your practice of self-inquiry. Discover the peace that comes from knowing your true self. The Amazon link is in the description. These videos bring Shankara's teachings into your direct experience. Subscribe to see more. Click thumbs up to like. Send questions and start a dialogue with a comment.